Tip top trippers, my name is Donato and welcome to my latest video where I'll be taking you through how to train for a marathon and starting with a 16-week marathon training plan. Without further ado, let's go. But before I go into the detail of this video, if you are new to this channel is all about the joy of running, and I would really appreciate your support for this channel by simply giving it a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you want to do a little extra favor, why not click on that alarm bell so you get notified of future videos, and share this video with your friends and family and anyone who's looking to either thinking of running a marathon or is about to start training for a marathon. So please do share this with all to enjoy. Thank you so much for your support. Oh yes guys, welcome back, welcome back. I'm so excited to be sharing this video with you because marathon running for me has become almost like the sole part of my running, and it certainly didn't start that way. And in this video I'll be taking you through three main sections. The first one being my background, how did I get started, how did I get into marathons, and through those insights hopefully maybe help you enjoy this journey, 16-week journey, or however long it may be for you in your marathon. The second part will be some myths and hopefully dispel some fears, hopes that you may have regarding this. And the third will be, what do we actually need to do? There's so many things out there that we could do and we may want to do, but what do we actually need to do as a minimum to get to the start line of that marathon? Because that's what the training is all about, getting to the start line. Yes guys, the first part is the journey of how did I get into marathon running, what did I do, and what did I learn from all that. It goes back to almost to this day, not quite this day, maybe a couple of weeks ahead, but by the time maybe you get to see this, it would have been then. I started running in my mid-50s 7 years ago with zero intention of doing any marathons or anything like that. The purpose of me getting started in running for that particular time was I'd volunteered to run a half marathon for a charity, which, never having ran before, seemed quite daunting, but a bit of a challenge. You know, we take up these challenges. So that's how I started running, and then zip forward to a year forward, that's when I'd done my first full marathon. So when I'd completed the half, as I said, I had no intention of doing any marathons, none at all, because it daunted me. Even when I finished my first half marathon, someone says, oh, you should do a marathon. I'm thinking, hang about, I nearly collapsed, died during a half marathon. How am I going to do twice that? But we go through things, we go through the training. Yes, that's right. And I was fortunate enough to get a place for Brighton Marathon that following year, which would have been 6 years ago. Yes, that's right, 6 years ago, April, I would have completed Brighton Marathon, which was my first marathon. You can see in the link below, you can watch the race vlog, and that was it didn't all go to plan, but the training that I followed was a 16-week training plan. Yeah, nice, simple, straightforward, that was supplied to me by Cancer Research UK, by the coaching company which was running with us, and they were the main coaching team helping all the charity runners for Cancer Research UK. Now that was the plan. I've been hunting high and low to find that exact plan or similar plans, and would you believe there's nothing available that's similar to that? Because all I done, and this might be oversimplifying it, and I say all I done, but one of the key things before starting any training plan is it will say that you need to have a certain level of skill, ability, fitness before you even start the actual training. For my particular beginner plan, which was just running 3 days a week, and I'll go into the detail what the three days of running was, but I needed to be able to run continuously, not run walk or walk, but run continuously for 40 minutes. So that equates for some people between 4 and 6 miles, depending on your ability. Maybe 3 miles. It's immaterial how far you cover. The consensus at that time was to be able to run for 40 minutes continuously. Now, I hadn't done any sort of proper running after finishing my half, and it was a bit of a struggle, but I finished it and I thought, right, I'm ready to start. And then come January for the marathon, Brighton Marathon in April, off I went. The 3 runs was Tuesday, Thursday and a Saturday or Sunday, depending on what my family commitments were. And those were the runs that I done. All my runs were based on time, no pace, no distance, and each week they would progressively increase. And the key session was the weekend long run. That's how my plan works. So my long runs were either on a Saturday or Sunday. The key for me was following religiously that training plan. Now, I was fortunate enough that I did pick up a niggle injury, I think in the January, but that was an old injury from what I picked up from the half marathon, you see, so things recur. Went to see a physio, worked out what was going wrong and corrected it. Would you believe that over 40% of people who train for a marathon get injured, and a lot of them don't take any advice? So I'd say take advice. But the 3 runs that I done was all at the same pace almost, yeah, and just running at steady paces. For the long run they were all way too quick, you know. I should have, you know, if there was a lesson to be learned, I should have slowed it down and basically gone a lot slower. But again, that could be a whole new video of lessons learned, what we do need to do. But that's my experience of running it. And then when I got to the start of Brighton Marathon and didn't run the right strategy or whatever, but still completed it in a time of 3 hours 47 minutes. So I wanted to get under 4 hours, got way under 4 hours, really happy about that. And that was my tick in the box. Done the marathon, I'm finished, done. Because that in a way is where the happy accident started with this particular channel to do the videos, because I was recording my training videos, putting them on YouTube and just showing to my kids that yeah, I'm taking this seriously, I'm going to do the training. And if I was to give one bit of advice, and that is a tip on what I'd done, what I would correct is, whilst following the training plan is the advice, and do it religiously, you know, don't deviate from the plan. You know, so if you feel good on a particular day and it says run for 20 minutes, don't run for 40 minutes, just run for 20 minutes. You're feeling good because the training's working. Yeah, I see people scooting off and going on these little mini adventures on trails and whatever. It's great, yeah, but you're training for a marathon. If you want to get to the start of the marathon fit, healthy, ready to go, and not be one of those 40%, 50% statistic that get injured and are unable to start, or starting with an injury, stick to the plan. But the caveat I would say is, if you don't feel good on the day of the training, or you feel that there's a bit of a niggle or something going on, rest. Missing a training run or 2 training runs, or even a week or 2 weeks in a 16-week period won't have that much of an impact for us as beginners. So that would be my only little caveat of following a training plan. So yeah, onward to the myths, which is point number 2. So the second point about myths, urban myths. Who knows how they all start, where they come about, but often we get stressed and anxious about certain things, and we start worrying, thinking, oh, do I need to do this, do I need to do that? There are 3 common myths, and maybe even more. You might want to add it in the comments below what myths you may have heard which are unfounded. But myth number 1, that you have to run all the way in the marathon. No, you don't. In fact, it's often encouraged to run and walk. For me personally, some of the best times I've done is where I walk through the aid stations where there's water, energy drinks and so on, and I just take my time casually walking through, having a drink. And I'm running times around 3 hours. So if you're taking longer to run, walk, it's sometimes actively encouraged and it can help you. So no, myth number 1, you don't have to run the whole way. Myth number 2, the long run. Yeah, the long run. How long do our long runs need to be? And I've seen people where they don't believe they can run a marathon until they actually do a training run of the 26.2 miles, 27 miles I've seen people do. No, you do not need to do that. In reality, all we need to do, because sometimes we'll talk about that, what the need is around 3 to 3.5 hours of a long run maximum. It's about time on feet. You may have heard when I was going through my training, it was all about time on feet, not distances. The third myth is that we need to do all different types of training: hill reps, fartleks, tempo runs, Kenyan hills, up and downs. Oh man, you name it, there's all sorts of stuff and bump out there that we're supposed to be doing. No, you don't need to do those. As a beginner, I would actively encourage you not to do them, because again, you'll end up in that category of the 40% of getting injured, and we don't want to do that, do we? Yeah. And I've often heard the fourth myth is where we need multiple shoes for multiple types of training. Now, as a beginner, no. For me, I only had one pair of shoes, which I then replaced when I worn out, and replaced it with the same shoes. Should be no different now. So find a comfortable pair of shoes. Go and have some gait analysis at a professional run store and try out the shoes. Find the ones that are comfortable. If the ones that are recommended don't fit you well, don't buy them. Go to another running store and try some different shoes there. But certainly, it's just one comfortable pair of shoes. You're training them and then you race in the same pair. You certainly don't need multiple shoes. You might want them, and you can certainly go ahead and buy them, but you don't need them. So those are hopefully some of the myths that will dispel that, and we'll go through more as the weeks progress of what we need and what we might want to do. Yeah, but as humans, sometimes we ignore the info and still go ahead and do it anyway and make the mistakes and think, oh damn, why didn't we do that? But yeah, that's life, eh? So hopefully that's helped with you on some of those. So we'll go on to the third point now of this video. What do we actually need to do as a minimum to complete the training and get to the start of a marathon? Yes guys, the third and final section of this particular video. What do we need to do as a minimum as part of this training? I touched on what I'd done from my experience, which was the 3 runs a week. No fancy stuff, no hill reps, no Kenyan hills, no fartleking, no tempo runs, none of that. I'd done no strength and conditioning work. So what do we need to do as a minimum? I would say the 3 runs a week, and it's the slow runs, all at easy conversational pace. If you can converse whilst you're running, and if you're running on your own, feel free to talk to yourself, but if you're panting and out of breath and you can't get any words in, you're probably running too fast, because by running slowly, that's what builds our endurance, and that's what we need, remember, need for our marathon. Not what we want, but we need. Yeah, so slow runs all the way. And the long slow runs at the weekend, on the Saturday or Sunday or whatever day it is, depending on your schedule, keep them really slow and easy. You shouldn't feel beaten up by the end of that long run, you know, whether it be for 1 hour, 2 hours, or when we get to the maximum of 3 hours, 3 hours 20, 3.5 hours, absolute tops. But I've seen so many beginners where they don't trust the process and they go out for 5 hours, 6 hours, and then they wonder when they get to the start why they're tired, exhausted, and probably injured. Yeah, that's why you're just doing too much. And when I've been looking through some of the current plans that are out there, and I can sort of see why now there's so many injuries, is I'm struggling to find beginner training plans of just 3 days. There are people who train for 3 days a week running, and they run sub 3 hour marathons. Yeah, so if they can run a sub 3 hour with just 3 runs, surely we can do it as a beginner. So hopefully that helps in terms of what we need to do. Yeah, remember, need, not want. So you may want to get some speed and run a fast time, and go ahead and look for resources for that, but I'm just covering the minimum of what do we need to do, and hopefully that helps with you to get to the start of the marathon and cover what we want to do, which is basically get to the start of the marathon fit, healthy, and looking forward to enjoy what we're about to do. The marathon can be a bit of a beast, and as the old saying goes, how do you eat an elephant? Well, it's one bite at a time. So running a marathon, running 26.2 right now at the beginning of 16 weeks may seem daunting, frightening, nervous, scary, all at the same time. But all I can say from my own experience, if you follow the process, follow the training plan, you will get to the start, fingers crossed, healthy, happy, uninjured, and ready to start, because the actual marathon itself is what we call the celebration of the training. You know, you've done all the hard work, you've done the 16 weeks training, or however long you've done the training. And yes, there are people out there who go and run marathons with no training. You could probably Google and say doing a marathon with no training, and you don't have to do the training. But believe me, all those people, without exception, unless they have a certain level of fitness, when they finish, they probably can't walk properly for weeks on end. They will pick up all sorts of injuries. Their feet will be mashed to pieces. Yes, that's right. Now, it's not saying that we do the training and our feet won't be mashed to pieces, but we should hopefully enjoy the process more, because for me, as I say, for this channel, it's all about the joy of running, and I want to enjoy every marathon that I do. However fast or slow it may be for me, I want to enjoy it, and hopefully you'll enjoy it too. So as I said, support the channel, give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you at the next week's training and taking you through where my journey to London Marathon, 2nd of October 2022. See you there.